Hello everyone, I'm Dante from Lowman and welcome to another This Week in Anthem. Here I run through all the news, updates, interviews and community spotlights that you should be checking out each week. Another week and another AMA. Well, kind of. As always, a lot of questions are repeated because there is only so much that can be answered, but we're still getting a few things each time. First up is something I'm pretty sure has been mentioned before, but build on the flight mechanics and overlaying pilot skills. Although we can alter flight efficiency, there'll be no way to actually change flight speed, to prevent groups being split through general flying. I'm sure we'll find a way around this once we get our hands on some abilities though, either intended or not. One that may be able to, with their teleportation, is the Storm, who we got a minor update on. We know that there are some elements that can be changed in the weapons and the gear isn't too restrictive. So even though they may give an electrical vibe, it's merely part of their base set. So if you prefer throwing fireballs like a classic mage, that seems more than likely. Which means the cosmetic changes should be there to match. Which reminds me of one of the very first pieces of art we saw for the Storm. That got everyone so hyped all the way back at the first E3 it was shown. If this is the case, then I'm really looking forward to some less traditional abilities when it comes to sci-fi, and a heavier lean on the fantasy side. What classic wizard styles do you want to see from the Storm, and how do you expect them to work? Moving away from our javelins and onto the sentries, the internal version of the freelancers, who now have a name for their own pilots, which, with the benefit of hindsight, isn't that much of a surprise. They're simply just lancers, because well, they're not free to roam like we are. It does make me wonder how exactly we ended up with a separated pilots in this way, one seemingly government controlled and the other privateers. You would think that combining the resources would be a much more effective way than privatizing off the resources to small numbers of families, unless the suits are so drastically different in power that they can't even fly, which if I were to speculate a little bit, would mean that the Freelancers, or Legion of Dawn, not only found and maintain their javelins, but themselves operate outside of whatever government functions within Tarsus, assuming one of much structure exists at all. And considering that all the javelins are handcrafted and handed down between families, what if the character we play is actually a direct descendant of the Legion of Dawn, not just an associated organisation that splintered off, but one of the key families? Something worth considering. For the last of our Twitter updates, we're moving over to Ben Irving's page, where he gave us a little tease. Apparently some lucky people are heading over to their office to try out the current test build of the game. No one really knows who they are, but I would take a guess that it's either some influencers, who get to test drive the new demo build before the slowly approaching reveal of the Elder game, Storm and Interceptor. Alternatively, it could be some of the press getting a sneak peek before the reveal. Whoever it is, they're very lucky, and I can only hope this is another sign we're edging closer and closer to the next information dump. Coincidentally, as I'm writing this section, we got a clarification of this exact point. Although we have no names, we know that the lucky people trying out the game are prominent FPS or shooter players, as Ben puts it. As for the topics covered, well, it seems they were pretty broad. Combat deep dive mechanics, feel, creatures, encounter density, gear, weapons and teamwork. So pretty much everything when it comes to combat encounters rather than story or mission structures. The biggest news this week is actually an update from BioWare themselves. Not exactly the big info dump we're all waiting on, but certainly a start. The Midsummer update is directly from Casey Hudson, covering a broad range of subjects, from the recap of EA Play to some new tidbits of information. So if you weren't aware of how the story will work, at least in the core it will be a single player experience, primarily within Fort Tarsus, with the philosophy of our world, my story. Obviously this is a new approach, and as such, there are a lot of questions about how exactly it all works. We've gotten some answers so far, but to try and explain it better, they are holding a panel this coming PAX West on September 1st. The rest of their updates focus around Star Wars and their other titles, but it seems we're only a month away before we get some bigger questions answered. And who knows, we may be getting some major information drops around about the same time. Now for this week's Community Spotlight. This is another fantastic piece of art made by graphic designer Shidaz, who posted this both on Reddit and Twitter. I'm hoping they make more of these for the other javelins, but if you want to go show your support, I'll link to both their Twitter and their Reddit post below. As always, I love to hear your feedback on what's going on in the world of Anthem and what I can do better in these videos. What are you hoping to see from the PAX West panel? And if you're going, are you hoping to ask any questions? And if so, what are they? If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave us a like, or a dislike if you prefer, You can subscribe to support the channel and hit the bell for notifications of content as it goes live. But until next time, I've been Dante, thanks for watching.